Marvel put out a list of what you need to watch before Avengers Doomsday. I think there's a few things missing, which I'm going to tell you about. We know that in Avengers Doomsday, you're going to see the MCU, you're going to see Fox's X-Men, and you're going to see the Fantastic Four from First Steps, all three of their universes somehow colliding. We believe that's happening. So the list, shocker, starts with X-Men and X2, the original Fox movies. A lot of them are going to show up in Doomsday. You got Xavier, Magneto, Mystique, Beast, Nightcrawler. So far, all of those guys are confirmed to show up in Doomsday. The next movie on the list is Captain America: First Avenger. Steve and Peggy, you see their origin in this. There's rumors about Steve going back in time and that causing these incursions that's got Dr. Doom all pissed off. So that makes perfect sense. The original Avengers movie, this is an Avengers movie. This is when these guys first teamed up and they stopped Loki in the Battle of New York. And then you jump right to Infinity War. So this is where I think we're missing a movie. I'm shocked that Age of Ultron is not on the list for a couple of reasons. One, Vision Quest is a show that's coming out soon, and that is rumored to play a role into Doomsday as well. And this is an Avengers movie. We got the other three Avengers movies, and this one's left out for some reason. Infinity War and Endgame are both on there. This is a no-brainer. Infinity War shows us what happens when the heroes lose, and I believe that is going to prep you for what's going to fucking happen in Avengers Doomsday. And Endgame, this is a no-brainer because Endgame is the movie that precedes Doomsday. We've heard this. Doomsday is being treated, has been produced and created as a direct sequel to Avengers Endgame, so much that they're releasing Endgame Encore in the theaters next month with some added scenes to tie everything together. Then we get into the Multiverse Saga. But before that, I think there's something else missing from these old movies. I'm shocked that X-Men Days of Future Past is not on this list. Now, it could not be on this list because it isn't going to matter at all, or it could not be on this list because maybe they don't want to spoil the fact that that's going to play a role here. In that movie, the X-Men time travel to change their outcome. Now, that also may contradict some of the rules that were written in Endgame. If you remember, in Avengers Endgame, they established that the time traveling is not going to change your future. What it does is create a whole nother branch timeline, which possibly could lead to an incursion as well. I'm 50-50 on Days of Future Past. Then we get into the Multiverse Saga. The show Loki is on here. This makes perfect sense. In Loki, we see the creation of the multiverse. We see the timeline branched into all these infinite chaotic realities. And then in the second season, we see Loki become a very, very important character in this saga. He is holding the entire multiverse together. So you can imagine what kind of power he's achieved in this show. There's a couple characters that have not been announced for Doomsday. And us people that read a comic, we know that in the comics, the Beyonder and the Molecule Man play a big role in Secret Wars. They play a big role in Doom powering up and eventually creating Battle World and controlling it for the time period that he did, becoming God Emperor Doom. So Loki is a character that, with the power that he obtained in this show, I could see him playing the role of one or the other, if not both. So that makes sense. Shang-Chi, this is on the list. In this movie, they introduced the 10 rings, and the big takeaway from this movie is we don't know a whole lot about the rings. We know they're older than dog shit. And at the end of the movie, we found out that the 10 rings are broadcasting some type of signal out to space. Who knows where it's going? So that makes sense. Wakanda Forever, that's on the list. That movie introduces Namor, and we see, global tensions over vibranium. The Wakandans also seem to have a heavy presence in this movie, at least through what we've seen in the trailer so far. Spider-Man No Way Home. This is an interesting one. This movie shows, I think, the first multiverse breach. This is the first movie in the MCU where we see characters from one reality crossing over into another reality. Not time travel. This is straight up different universes with the villains who knew who Peter Parker was jumping over into Earth 616. Thing about this, though, is Spider-Man has not been confirmed for Doomsday. At the end of Brand New Day, we see a text that says Spider-Man will return. Doesn't say when or where. Now, I'd be shocked if there isn't at least one Spider-Man in Avengers Doomsday. The next movie is Multiverse of Madness. This is one that makes a lot of sense because it explains what incursions are. It shows you exactly what the fuck happens when you start jumping around through the multiverse. It also confirms that Stephen Strange caused an incursion, which may have led right to Doomsday. Doctor Strange, Wanda, and America Chavez have not been confirmed yet for Doomsday, and I would be surprised if two, maybe even all three, weren't in this movie. Doctor Strange causing these incursions, it would make sense for him to be in there in some way, shape, or form. Wanda with her power set, just like I said about Loki, Wanda could serve the same purpose of one of those characters, Molecule Man, Beyond, or maybe more of a Molecule Man. And then there's a whole story, Children's Crusade in the comics, where Doom has Wanda almost under a spell in a lot of ways, trying to use her to absorb the life force. So there could be some of that. We saw these Latvian witches. A lot of people think the one in green is Wanda in disguise. We see Wanda in a green attire in this comic as well. So that's a possibility there. And then America Chavez has not been confirmed, but if Doomsday is going to feature incursions and Doomsday is featuring multiversal travel, America Chavez's whole power set is the ability to travel through the multiverse. So I wouldn't be surprised if she shows up as well. Another movie that's not on the list that I'm surprised by is The Marvels. Not because it's an amazing movie, it's an okay-ish movie, but the end of this, we see an incursion prevented. We also see with these bangles, people fucking around with time, space, and shit. So they're doing stuff in there that's tearing universes and fucking up the space in between different universes, essentially causing incursions. And the movie ends with Monica Rambeau in the wrong universe, which we have been told that could potentially cause an incursion as well. So I'm a little shocked that one's been left off. Deadpool and Wolverine's on the list. This is where the Fox universe becomes part of the MCU. It also introduces the concept of an anchor being. If the anchor being of a universe dies, then that reality is going to die as well. It also showcased the void. We saw the void in Loki. The void is a place where pruned realities are dumped. That may play into Doomsday Secret Wars, or maybe the void was just a test, just a tutorial, a lesson for us on what Battle World is going to be. Then you got the newer movies, the recent run from 2025, Captain America, Brave New World. Now, this movie introduces adamantium through the celestial Tiamat. Global powers are kind of fractured right now because they're fighting over this adamantium. And you get the warning from the leader about some type of massive, massive threat. I don't know if he says multiversal, but I'm a little surprised that it's on there. The next one is Thunderbolts. This movie, one of the big pieces of this movie is it introduces Sentry, who is one of the most powerful characters in the MCU right now, but obviously he's got that whole mental health issue, the void, all that. So he's a god almost from a power level, but he's also a loose cannon and someone that you can't really trust to do what's right because he is a little tapped. Then the last movie on this list is the Fantastic Four: First Steps. This sets up their Earth 828. They fight Galactus. Franklin Richards is born in this. He is going to be a big, big piece of Doomsday and or Secret Wars, in my opinion. He's got this insane level of power. Now, we're familiar with him from the comics. We don't really understand fully what his power is in the MCU yet. We do know that he was able to re-alive his mom after she was killed in battle. All I can say from what I've seen is he's powerful as shit, and we've only seen him at, less than a year old. The movie does end with the Doom tease. Doom shows up to the Baxter building, shows up to their home, or somebody in a green cloak with a Doom mask. A lot of people are thinking, oh, maybe it's one of the witches because it's not the same suit we've seen. I think it's Doom. We've seen two different suits now in the trailers. Doom can have more than two suits. So maybe whatever he wore that day to the Fantastic Four house was, maybe it was at the dry cleaners when it was time to fight Thor. I don't know. I think it was him. So that is the list of what we need to watch according to Marvel, according to Disney Plus. This is our road to Doomsday. You got 4 months to watch over 30 hours of content.